So I'm back again with our next chapter. That is Nelson Mandela, A Long Walk to Freedom. Basically, Nelson Mandela, A Long Walk to Freedom is an autobiography of Nelson Mandela. So in class 10th, in CBSE board class 10th, there is a portion of that autobiography which is there in your syllabus. Before we could know what is there in the autobiography and which chunk, which portion of the autobiography this lesson is focusing on, we should be knowing about who Nelson Mandela was. Nelson Mandela, he was one of the freedom fighters of South Africa. He gave freedom to South Africa. If I'm saying South Africa, then we should come on to a fact that South African people, their color complexion usually is dark. And this is what a very big problem in their freedom struggle. So basically, in his autobiography, Nelson Mandela is talking about the hard times, the policy of apartheid, racial discrimination, and all the things that they have experienced in their entire life. Now, children, this lesson starts, this portion starts up with the speech, right? Now, I want everyone, whosoever is listening to me and watching my video, I want everyone to focus and to imagine. Just imagine a scene. And the scene is that it is your Independence Day celebration. Okay. You are sitting, it can be anywhere. You are sitting in front of your television sets, or maybe you are there in Delhi attending the function, right? What happens on 26th of January or 15th of August in our country? Beautiful presentation from the Indian force, all the three forces. Beautiful aircraft activities, okay, from very uh, honored and renowned or famous aircrafts, very valuable ones. And they display beautiful aircrafts, air activities. On the ground, your army, the camel march, the march with different folks and dance and cultures and everything. Right? This is what we witness on 26th of January or 15th of August in our country. Now, I want everyone just to imagine one thing. Before we could actually focus on the chapter, I want all of you to imagine one thing. Imagine is that you're sitting over there and you're getting very nostalgic. Nostalgic about how those freedom fighters, they sacrificed their lives and we are living freely today in this world. Imagine, children, if we would have been in a zone and in an era where even going out of the house would be a big deal. Then so things would have been different for us, different and tough, right? But we are free now, and we imagine all those things that we have read in history, how they have lost their lives. But once, when we talk about our freedom fighters, were they freedom fighter since their birth, or it gradually developed in them? Yes, it was not there since birth. When they observed the things around them, like we have Bhagat Singh, Obviously, we don't know personally, but whatever we have read in history, we have seen the movies based on them. So, what we interpret out of it, what we understand out of it, that Bhagat Singh, he was very small when he realized that our nation is in bondage. And from there, he developed a sense of responsibility that yes, I want to make my efforts to free my nation from the bondage of the Britishers, of the whites, right? And whom he followed. He followed Mahatma Gandhi and so many other people who have already been there in the scene and who were elder than Bhagat Singh. So, like Bhagat Singh had his ideals, his set ideals, right? He had he had so many people that he admired, and then on their footprints, on their footsteps, he started taking his initiatives. And gradually and slowly, we know so many stories about so many of our freedom fighters. Right? Now we'll come back to the lesson. So this lesson, it opens up with a ceremony. Now it is fast forward. It opens up with a ceremony in which this particular day, on which the ceremony is there, it is the inaugural ceremony of what? Of South Africa being given its freedom and its identity as a separate nation. Today, for the first time in this ceremony, it will get its own government, its authorities, and for the first time ever, the national anthem of South Africa will be sung. Right? So it's a very auspicious day. And Nelson Mandela is sitting over here with his daughter to attend the ceremony. And this is not the end of the summary or the just behind it. He is going to be honored as the first president of South Africa. Now this chapter begins, the scene begins. It's a beautiful building where all the people are there, all the delegates, all foreign delegates from the other countries, the blacks, the whites, everyone is there. And the second deputy president has been announced, the first deputy president has been announced, and then finally Nelson Mandela, the president of South Africa for the very first time. When his name was being called, he goes on the stage and he gives a speech. Very important. It's there in the beginning of the lesson, been given in your books, right? Just read it very carefully. In the entire speech, he is wishing luck, good luck to the citizens, and he is wishing that no one should be now the oppressor, okay, or the oppressee. That means no one in my nation should harass anyone and no one should get harassed at all. I wish that this freedom should prevail. And now we should work on the upliftment of South Africa. He gave the speech and then he comes back to his seat and he sat over there. And then, like I said you, I gave you the example that imagine that you are sitting on a very auspicious national day and there are so many activities going on and you get very nostalgic after seeing them. Similarly, there is a description about so many things, and because he's sitting over there, he's watching whatever is happening. What he's seeing, the very beautiful impressive display of the jets, right, the aircrafts, beautiful. He's looking at the sky and he's saying, see, this is South Africa's military, air force, the strength of South Africa we hold. And when he see these things, he gets emotional, he gets nostalgic, and then he tells us about how he got freedom for his nation. Right? He tells about the society that had so much of discrimination, the black and the whites. The whites were the Britishers who were ruling. And he said moving out of the house was a big deal. There was so much of the racial discrimination, caste, creed, gender, everything, color. So the life was not easy. He says that initially, when he was small, he never felt like, he never knew what is freedom for him. Because freedom for him was roaming freely in his house, sleeping in his mother's lap. But he says once he grew up a little, moving towards his adolescent age, he realized that freedom is not what I have. I have freedom of moving in my house. But if I want to go out, we are not allowed. We are answerable. In our own country, we are answerable to someone else. That day he realized that no, meaning of freedom is actually something else. Then he stepped out of his house thinking and deciding with great determination that I want my country back. I want the freedom of my people back. This life which we are leading is actually not a good life. And now in the chapter, he tells us about the harsh reality that he had. He says that racial discrimination was the hardest and the harshest thing in the world one could ever feel or experience. And that was going on in his nation. There was a policy of apartheid. Apartheid is discrimination on the basis of color. Because South Africans are black in color, they were very suppressed, right? They were being oppressed by the Britishers at every point of time. They were treated as it was very inhumane in the way they were being treated because they were blacks. So he says that this policy of apartheid, discrimination on the basis of color, was very strong at that time. He says not only this, generally also, one person, every citizen, children, you, me, everybody, we have two obligations. What are two obligations? What is the meaning of obligation? Obligation means responsibility. This is what Nelson Mandela tells us. He says that everyone holds two obligations. One is towards the family and its members, and the other one is towards the nation and its citizens. And he said that in those days, if one wants to serve the nation and the family both, it wasn't allowed. Because then in that case, the Britishers, they treated that person as, obviously, the person is going against them. He's trying to think for the nation and for the family both. Life will not be easy, right? You know about the freedom fighters, their life was not easy. So, in the same way, the life of a person who wants to fulfill both these obligations, twin obligations, two obligations, the life was very tough for the person. So, the person had to decide family or nation. Nelson Mandela, with a very heavy heart, he decided nation because he thought my family consists of hardly few people, hardly few members. But my nation, which is my larger family, have so many lives and so many people. So I want to do something for my nation. And he decided that I will be fulfilling my second obligation, that is my responsibility, my obligation towards my nation. And then his life changed. He went to jail, to the prison many a times. His A huge portion of his life was there. It spent in the prison. The life was not easy. Why? Because the person who chose this path, whosoever decides to serve the nation in those days, because it wasn't easy for them, so that person was supposed to stay away in isolation from the family. He wasn't allowed to contact his family members and know about their well being. He had to face so many ups and downs. And he says that I chose this because I believed that I was a mixture of the little essence of every freedom fighter of my time. And that's why it is given in your book. When you'll turn the pages, you'll see in the chapter there is a page in which the names of the freedom fighters is mentioned. He quotes those freedom fighters of South Africa and he says that I hold little portions of them. From someone I've taken strength, from someone I've taken courage, from someone I've taken the vision how to move ahead. So I was walking on their footprints. Yes, the life wasn't easy. So this is basically is being expressed over here. It's going parallel. The celebration is going on. He's looking at it when actually South Africa has got the freedom and the national anthem of two nations is being sung together and the flag is hoisting high, right? So he's getting very nostalgic. And in this, he is thinking, he's remembering, recalling all those moments when he actually had a hard time to get this freedom. So children, don't get confused in the chapter. When he see all these things, so many people around there. How many countries are present in this inauguration ceremony? 140. Okay. So when he sees that, yes, my land, in my land, there are so many people, so many delegates. I've never imagined of that one day it will come when my nation will be a free nation and a non-racial government will be formed, free of discrimination and everything, right? So he's getting nostalgic. So at the same moment, he is watching, getting nostalgic, and he is telling us what he has gone through. And then a very last but not the least, obviously, because we don't know the entire autobiography. That's why the title of the autobiography is Long Walk to Freedom. It wasn't a short one, it was a long struggle to get the freedom. And then he says that he finally joined the African National Congress. Okay? He decided to be in the political scenario to serve the country, to know it better, to go into the depth of the rules, norms, and how he can just implement them, how he can further use it, how he can be a part of it, right? So this is what basically Nelson Mandela, A Long Walk to Freedom, is all about. His struggle to get freedom. And now, on this very day, when he has got it, and there is a big, huge ceremony. What is the date of the ceremony? It's given in your book. It's 10th of May. See, it is given. The very first page it is given. 10th of May, 1994. So I hope this summary of Nelson Mandela is clear to you. Do not get confused. It is about an autobiography the person has written on his own. So, this little chunk, the portion from the huge big autobiography, is being taken to explain to you the very important. This is the final day of achievement. But yes, he is getting nostalgic. He's having a mixture of so many emotions at the same time. He's remembering what all he has gone through. And that's why in this lesson, there are two, three things that are very important with reference to your examination, with examination point of view. First is twin obligations. This question comes every year. What are the twin obligations or two obligations that Nelson Mandela is talking about, or a person holds, or every citizen holds. So the question can be asked in two, three ways. The second one is, what was the policy of apartheid, the discrimination, racial discrimination, right? Then, what can be, sorry, what was the final day of inauguration? What is the true meaning of the speech given by Nelson Mandela? So these are few questions. I hope you understood the gist of the lesson. If you liked it, do like, share, and subscribe. And in my next video, I'll be dropping the key points. I'll make the key points and I'll upload it in my next video just for you to have a quick recap after seeing the detailed summary video with few of important questions with reference to your examination.